It's that time again, Our Town Live, where friends, family, people you know, and others you'd rather not know share with us their unique bits of wisdom. And now, here's Herb, your host, for another show.
It's been 1 year since we've talked to Dr. Werner Krings. Dr. Werner Krings is an international author, keynote speaker, and thought leader in B2B business excellence with a focus on business developments and sales acceleration. He received the LinkedIn #1 Top Social Selling Awards in 2017, demonstrating that his practitioner expertise and doctoral research made a significant impact. His professional career of 28 years focuses on business consulting and development, marketing and sales, primarily in the DACH, Western European and North American region. No more delays. Here's Dr. Krings. Werner, we haven't spoken since March 24th, 2020. And what we talked about then was after the coronavirus, what should we look forward to?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much, Herbert, for the interview. And I think last year we were a bit paralyzed. It was a sort of a shock with the lockdown. But I think, if I recall this correctly, we were already looking a bit into the future. We tried to be encouraging, inspiring, so we would really walk through it and get out of it much stronger than originally entered into this phase.
How did we do?
I must say, I'll be very honest, I was, of course, like everybody else, a bit in the beginning discouraged by the whole situation, and I decided at some point, instead of being paralyzed by these increasing numbers of tragedies, just to switch my mindset and go back into sort of a growth mindset or positive psychological proof from to move from being locked down to acting up. That was my mindset change. And of course, like everything in life, when you are in change, you can either resist the change and fight against it, or you can say, that's how the situation looks like, what are opportunities we can seize of it, what solutions can we develop to get ASAP to cope with this in a very good manner.
Leaving politics out of the next question.
Yes.
Where do you think we, from your vantage point, where do you think we stand in relation to wearing masks, not wearing masks, sitting 6 feet apart, not sitting 6 feet? What's your opinion?
My opinion, I have to say this, and this is independent of politics, as you stated, and I think this is very good to take a balanced view here. I think it's always good to follow directions or guidelines, especially they are there to help us to cope with it, to protect us. And yes, there are times, like we all, we feel like deprived of liberties, and then we tend to complain. But I have to say this, though I now have 2 vaccinations, I still wear the mask. I respect when other people are there more sensitive. And, of course, at home with my wife, we do not wear the mask at home. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think for the public, it's really good to have, especially in airplanes. Yeah.
Where do we go from here? How long do we do this? When can we relieve ourselves of these kind of things?
That's a good question, and I wish I had the answer. And of course, everybody of us knows only a partial answer of the future. But I'm very confident that we probably by summer, the United States definitely have a good track record. As I heard yesterday, I think 52% of all U.S. citizens have at least received the first shot. 30% probably have already received the second shot. Europe is a bit lagging behind, but I am very certain that by early fall, and this is also what we hear here in academia and also business, that we are going back at least partial to normal. And however, I think wearing the mask in airplanes in the future, I think it's a great decision to make.
You are an expert and a consultant in leveraging digital media.
Yes.
In our digital world today, and a lot of people getting more involved with it because they're still afraid to go out and would rather not.
Yes.
For a small business, not a huge business, a new business, a year, 2 years old, 6 months old, what's the best thing for them to do to get involved?
Yes, I think thank you very much for addressing the question. So if you're a brand new business with local reach, then I think using some of the social networking sites like Facebook, Instagram are a good way to go. If you are in the corporate business world, I think you should work on your LinkedIn profile, since it offers to build and nurture relationships, test drive actually relationship at a low overhead. And I'm working currently, I'm doing a program with the Wharton School of Management, and I'm working actually currently at on a startup, how we can take the whole noise out of social media, that you get the right contacts for you within minutes, and then let's say you are developing your business, whether it is B2B or B2C, and that you then also get the information relevant to you and not being caught up in all the noise, which can be very distractive. And yes, I recommend to have a presence on some social media platforms, because it's very good to get your name out, to leverage the electronic word of mouth, and that can definitely accelerate your business.
What do you consider to be noise?
Noise are all information which are not primarily relevant to your business. And we all have these times where we are in the work process and we take probably a short coffee break, like 5 minutes, and then we might look into a blog or into an article which might not be really 100% relevant to our business. And for example, you might look into a COVID discussion, and then you might be a bit sidetracked. That's what I mean by noise. The noise are all information which are not adding value really to your business, which are not translating into dollars, but just draw your attention away from what is really most important to you.
What do you feel about advertising such as Bing or Google or one like this? Should you pay for it?
That's a very good question, and I actually deal with this in my digital social media class. I mean, you have to say that Google is the top search engine. They have a market share of over, I think, 95 or up to 99%. Yes, if that information is very critical to you, I think you should pay to some extent, because there's no free lunch in life, and all those free of charge information, they have the problem that there might be a bias involved, that they might not be 100% real. And of course, I would say partially, if you benefit from a search engine like Google, yes, if you can choose a subscription model which is keeps the costs reasonable in terms of amount, yes, I'm for it to pay also a fair share.
I have been involved with my own websites, as you know, for many, many years, and I have watched the advertising part of the business go up and up and up as far as cost is concerned. But I've also noticed, and I know not only from Google but from Amazon, that the big money, because of their big money ability, usually wind up on the first page. And I don't care how much SEO you do, you won't get there. How do we overcome that?
How do we overcome this? This is a very phenomenal good question you ask. And there are several approaches. Let me say how you won't overcome it by just adding additional keywords in your on your website program. That is very tempting. Sometimes web developers recolor those keywords so that they believe that Google doesn't notice this. But the problem is that Google might penalize you for it. I would suggest the following. You can probably find out the keywords which are relevant to you first and foremost, and then test, it's a bit trial and error. And the other thing is, if you do not have your website up to on the first page, what you could do, you could work with a funnel system that is sort of which can help to expand your business. I mean, I'll be honest to you, I had a website which I recently took off the web because it was nicely designed, but it didn't make me money. And what I now consider is to probably work together with a coach who can help me to create this funnel so that my emails automatically are triggered, and I hope to get more traffic. However, I got through LinkedIn actually last year an executive coach from the top university, Oxford State Business School, and he approached me because he liked my LinkedIn profile. And I think if you tweak a bit your LinkedIn profile or add a second one, then you might generate more warm leads. Although it's more inbound, where then people approach you rather than you have to reach out to them through outbound marketing. So that's one opportunity. And the other opportunity is just to tweak a bit with your keywords. And for example, now for my business, I had some really good ideas how I would call it. And I wanted to choose a Latin English version. And all these companies already existed within different industries. And that can be, of course, a bit frustrating when you have this eye-opening idea and you say, wow, this is the perfect name for my business, and then you Google it, and then somebody else might have it in an industry which might not be very promoting to your particular business. So there's a bit trial and effort involved, but what you can also do is to use a survey tool like SurveyMonkey or Qualtrics and just test drive. Approach 10 to 30 people or your future customers and ask them, what do you think about my website? What can I improve? Let's say a 5-minute to 10-minute survey, and then you give away probably an Amazon card for the winner. You draw it, so you provide an incentive, and then you test drive your hypotheses. Mm-hmm. And that's very, very important, and I have to do this too, and because we all have sometimes great ideas, but if our potential customers don't jump on this, then there might be a gap which might cause then a bit frustration in the short term.
As you know, I sold life insurance for 50 years.
Yes.
And I read a book probably 40 years ago, and the title of the book was Ideas Are a Dime a Dozen.
Yes, let me say this. Ideas are, let's say, like a spark to light up a fire, but of course it needs more in order to to move from an idea to the implementation. And now, in your case, I was in life insurance, Frank, a few months. I had all these licenses, all the stock poker licenses
right.
as well. And it boils down to building up credibility and trust and building up relationships. And this is in third spaces like pre-COVID, it might be a Starbucks or another coffee house, or now increasingly social media. LinkedIn can be perceived as a space where you build up relationships. And I think it's very good that you probably update your profile. You have some not too much information out there. And then, probably invest in a website design. Yes, it can cost you perhaps a couple of $100 to $1,000. You can also, source this out. I used to do web design, and if you do it yourself, of course, you have high-end design. It takes you weeks. But if you source it out, because you are starting off your business, then invest a few $100 and seek help, because sometimes we have a blind spot, and there's where we need other businesses or coaches or mentors as well to help us pressing through.
By the way, Fiverr, Fiverr, is a wonderful site to get job work done. They're very reasonable. You can find very exclusive consultants and very cheap ones, and they're both good.
Yes, and I would say, if somebody's really good, so you might probably add a bit, don't go with the cheapest necessarily. Right. This is all a pricing model. They might add up then services where you pay individually for, but find some reasonable offers, and perhaps, first of all, also design or write down some ideas how you want that website to look like, because your perception might be completely different from that contractor. And I have noticed this. I like Mint design, and sometimes people send me design examples that were so offbeat from the color scheme that I then decided to put it on ice. But when I did web design, I did this for luxury builder. It was always in sync with the client. There were discussions involved. It was not a cheap project, but it was reasonable. And, of course, it led then also to recommendations. Yeah?
I'm not a designer, even though I've done my own and do my own.
Yes.
But I think the most effective, simplest, probably most profitable first page of any website you could go to is Google.
Yes, you need today a landing page, and you need to, and that's very important too, you need to have the call to action built in. Let's say if you have a landing page with a subscription page because you want to build up an email list, this is very of the essence, because some people have wonderfully designed websites, but when now the potential customer wants to move on and act, there is no interaction.
Right.
That's Web 1.0 compared to we are now Web 2.0, Web 3.0, where it is highly about interaction, because our customers, through their comments, co-create our products and services to some extent, and we want, of course, the customer's opinion. Otherwise, we are disconnected.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Especially for my audience. Tell them again how they can get in touch with you, your website.
Yeah, the best way currently to contact me is on my LinkedIn profile, and this is you find me there under Dr. Werner J. Krings, and I really recommend whether you want to do now business with me or just want to get connected, send me an invite, because I have now about 20,000 followers by the end of this half year. And so it's a very good way to get connected, and then we can go from there. And if you want to definitely get in touch with me for consulting, for coaching or mentoring, let me know. We can work out something.
Thanks for listening to Our Town Live, and don't forget to subscribe and give us a review.